Hello and welcome to the NT Recap, where we aim to discuss just enough news to recap the week that's been in and around the NT. We have a massive show for you this week, including announcing the winner of our Vibe Hotel at the Darwin Waterfront competition, which is where our new home is right now. We are located at Darwin Waterfront, which is really exciting. But first off, let's talk about what is front and center of everybody's mind right now, which is that the borders are open. And I think that there's a lot of trepidation in the community at the moment. I know that people who were not wanting the borders to open, before are a little bit hesitant.
There's a genuine unease, and basically it was interesting to see Dr. Hugh Heggie this week saying, as the Chief Medical Officer, it's about you, it's about you. It's about going back to the things that you were doing, about social distancing, about washing your hands, about keeping clear of large groups. So there is a definite, as I say, a disease. You don't need to read around or listen to too much to know that there is a genuine disease or unease.
Absolutely. And people have got so many questions and uncertainty because things are changing by the hour, on the hour. And it's at that point now where everyone needs to start taking full responsibility for their actions and keeping themselves up to date about what is a hotspot, what's not a hotspot, what does that mean for your entry back to the territory. Like even the Minister for Education did a call out saying if you're a teacher currently interstate, get back as soon as you can, because things are going to get a little bit interesting over when school starts next week.
Exactly. And to summarize, what is happening right now is that if you're from a declared hotspot, you have to mandatorily quarantine. So all of Victoria, you have to mandatorily quarantine if you're coming from there, and parts of New South Wales. So some teachers, I know, they've gone down to Melbourne or even Sydney, parts of New South Wales, which have now been declared a hotspot, like the Blue Mountains, and they're going to have to mandatorily quarantine. I think it's going to be a really interesting space when kids get back to school.
And we have to rely on trust. Essentially, we're trusting people, and the COVID-idiots who are trying to be getting around the whole thing are, I think that's what's in people's heart.
Did you coin that phrase?
No, COVID-idiot. I've picked that up. Nothing I say is likely to be sort of brand new.
Tell you what though, Howard Springs has never been a cooler place to hang out though. Like it's a hot spot full of hot people coming in. Howard Springs, where it's at, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all that mandatory quarantining. It's a good place to hang out.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of other places to hang out, Darwin CBD, let's talk about that, because we've got the City Safe trial, which sees security guards monitor the city from 4 p.m. till 6 a.m., 7 days a week. That trial is up for review in August, and that comes after a security guard was kicked in the face this past week trying to break up a fight. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did read about it. I mean, it's terrible stuff, and it's a difficult job at the best of times, but you get to 2 or 3 in the morning and it's a very, very difficult job.
Yeah. And I think from what I've sort of been reading about it and hearing about it, a lot of the difference has been made by those security guards being there consistently, because a lot of the problems are substance abuse related. So it's not necessarily people being violent all the time. It's when they have these bad substances and these things in their systems that make them act erratically. But building these relationships over time, the security guards have actually done an incredible job of knowing the people that they're talking to and engaging in a really appropriate way.
I think a lot of store owners also are happy that they were commenting that before they would be uneasy coming Monday morning, what's going to happen to my store? Is it being vandalized or those types of things? So I hope that the trial, it no longer becomes a trial and it becomes permanent. But again, that's up for review in August. Another thing which I think is interesting about what's happening in the CBD is those Neuron scooters. You can now go to Mindle Beach Casino and you can also go to the Botanical Gardens. I'm not a fan of them.
What? Oh, wow. This is a big...
I know that people who live in the inner city are, but I'm grumpy old man about it. I think if you're going to put people in our, people who are drunk riding home without a helmet on a footpath. There's nothing good about that.
I love yous, but nah. The scooters are amazing. Why didn't I know this about both of you? I thought we were going to have a moment where we go, yay, orange scooters are the best thing ever.
No.
They're so good. They get you from one side of the city to the other. And one of the things I really like about them...
Why can't you walk?
If you're a woman walking alone at night, the scooters are the greatest thing in the world. So on Sunday for me to get from point A to point B as a woman by myself in the city, that scooter made me feel so much more confident. Sorry for anyone who saw
No,
me on the
you've changed-
CCTV camera
You've
because
changed
I was.
my mind.
Well,
Right.
mostly during the school holidays, what you're seeing is
Yeah.
school kids riding them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not quite sure that you should be using a motorised piece of transport on a footpath if
I
you're
think it's
under
brought
18.
more people into the city. I think it's made things really fun. I think people have been more likely to explore different areas. I'm all for them. I love them in Adelaide. I'm stoked they're in Darwin. I will be.
How
wearing-
many times have you ridden them?
Anytime I go to the CBD,
Oh.
actually, because walking is for losers.
Okay. Another thing which I find interesting is that, do you know the new flagpoles on the corner of Stewart Highway and Bagot Road?
Yeah.
They gave, I think it was over $800,000. Don't quote me on that exact figure. For landscaping. That area I don't think is very big. That is a huge whopping amount of money.
Well, we have to see what the landscaping's like to see whether it's
Yeah.
worth it, I guess. You know,
Well,
like, I don't know. I
guess-
haven't spent that much money on
I guess it
landscaping.
depends on what the plants and things are. Because you know when they brought boabs into different places, that's an expensive process. If they're bringing some sort of plant
watch
like
this
that,
space with the
But
landscaping.
it is nice to
should
see
be
the
worth
Indigenous
it.
flag now flying.
It
Yeah,
is. It's very
100%.
nice. And now what's happening with Katherine at the moment?
Well, I mean, I love the quote that I read from one of the power and water, I think, engineers who said we are moving ahead at breakneck speed on building the water plant. But it's already been delayed. It was officially supposed to be opened. This is post PFAS, so long after we'd found out that the PFAS was there in Katherine, and then we had the class action that was communities around Australia that won hundreds of millions of dollars.
Which saw that essentially contaminated water from fire foam at Tyndall Base was leaching into the water.
And so now the Defence Force are paying for these treatment plants so that the clean water is there. But as we know, over the last few seasons, the Katherine community have been dealing with water restrictions, not necessarily for water drinking, but for watering and things like that, irrigation and those sorts of things. So it was due to be open last year, near the end of last year. It was moved back to being, I think, July this year. It's now been pushed back again. From the research that I've done and ringing around to talk to people, my understanding is that there was a good reason for it to be put back the last time because it involved getting specialist equipment to
clean the water.
PFAS. But the delay now seems to be a little less clear about why there is a delay, and Katherine will wait.
that
Plus
moving
the
at
other
breakneck speed, obviously,
It's not happening.
That is snappy as. That is.
yeah, that's breakneck
The
speed.
PFAS foam, is that the same foam we used to dance around in at like school carnivals?
I hope not. I really, really hope not.
Didn't the fire department ever come to your school and
No.
put foam out?
No.
I'm going to call my GP.
You're hitting a lot of resistance from us too.
Yeah, I'm going to go get myself educated.
You
on
sound like you had a really good party. Anyway,
The projection is early next year is when
Okay.
you would see the full one. It'll take the Katherine from having, I think, 1 megalitre of clean water to 10 megalitres of clean water a day.
yeah. I think with Katherine also trying to farmers pushing for cotton to be grown in that region, and cotton uses a lot of
of water.
pesticides and a lot of water, and pesticides leak off into rivers and groundwater. I think with that and the cotton, I think it's an interesting space what's happening in Katherine. I can understand why residents are going to be
some kind of
upset.
growth there. I mean, the classic Bill Heffernan food bowl of the north, where we're going to pump water from, Western Australia from there. I think it'll be a long time before you see that.
Yeah,
And
but
then
water's a big
further down
issue.
the Stewart Highway is also crazy things going on as well at the moment, Margot, right?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, a bit more about this, but the fire in Tennant Creek.
Tennant Creek's lost
Yes.
their supermarket.
Yes.
Stewart Highway's just got all this stuff going on at the moment. Like coronavirus is the big talk, but there's some big news things happening down that Stewart Highway.
Yeah.
So Tennant Creek, population about 3,000, no supermarket.
Yeah,
So now
because
they've
it
moved the
went up in
supermarket to the
flames.
service station. I think
Yeah.
at the moment you can buy, and I did read that they were trucking down the groceries from Katherine to Tennant Creek. But no shop when there's one shop is a big thing.
Food Bank NT's on board trying to help out there, but otherwise they're getting their groceries from Alice Springs. That's a 10-hour return trip to do your shops.
Yes, because 500 kilometres,
yeah,
right?
100%. It's not the nicest road to cruise down if you're trying to do something in a snappy way.
No. Give us an update on what's happening politically, because the elections are still on track for August 22.
Well, one of the things I would say politically, and this was right at the start of the week, that we lost one of the really, gentlemen of politics here in the Northern Territory. John Arquette passed away on Sunday night, and we send our condolences to everybody who was involved with John. And he is a much, much, much loved man. And he if you look at what he did over the long term, people know him as a parliamentarian, but long before that, he was in the early part of the NLC. He was part of pushing back the Coronation Hill mining with the Hawke government. He ran that organisation. He spent a lot of time in the community with the Jawoyn Association around Nitmaluk, and then became a minister. He was the first Indigenous minister. He served in 5 portfolios. He was just a lovely man, and I think everybody who worked with him, and you read a lot from his colleagues, had a great sense of humour. He was a wonderful man. For me, my favourite John R. Kit moment was probably nothing big, but it was when he wore a bulldog scarf into Parliament and referred to them as the Territory Bulldogs when we got our first ever territory football game here for the AFL. And Jack stood up with the Bulldogs and said, they're the Territory Bulldogs. So they don't play up here much anymore. But, now the legacy of that is that the Arkit family are always strong in the Territory. But Nari Arkit, his daughter now, of course, the Deputy Speaker, Chansey Pate. So you've got a different view of what Indigenous politics are, much more than when Jacob Arkit was really pushing forward. And then, of course, even in his latter months, last year he was back at the NLC running that to try and just reset the culture of that organisation, which had gone off board.
He was very active. And in terms of, because he was the member for Arnhem, right? Aren't there new mountain bike trails that have just been opened up at Nitmaluk?
Not quite Arnhem, but Nitmaluk area. So down the Stuart Highway a little bit. So Nitmaluk National Park has mountain bike tracks that are opening up, which is amazing. What a good...
I believe it's one of the fastest growing sports.
Yeah, it's a...
Well, it's huge in the centre. I mean, a lot of people, we're talking about people coming to the top end and trying to get across the border, but, big mountain bike races in the centre. I presume that we'll see the same sort of thing.
I love it. I love active ways to kind of go out there and see the outdoors, and they've even got places along the way to fix your bike if you get something wrong with it, which I think is important.
They have someone to fix your bike.
That'd be great.
I've seen them around. They're really good. Those bike repairs. You just got to know how to repair your bike using those equipment. But that's exciting. And then what else is happening?
Well, look, there's lots going on in terms of things to happen because it's the dry season. So it means we don't sleep now until September, something like that. But some of the quick things that you can get involved in, those vouchers are back, the My Darwin vouchers, and also other councils as well, thanks to NTG adding some more money into that system.
$200 million.
Yeah, it's insane.
200,000. Sorry.
Whoops.
Sorry, that's a lot of coffees.
That would be
200,000 for Darwin, but they've pledged money to all councils across the NT.
I think it's genius. It's been such a good idea. It's worked really well. Every shop I've spoken to loves it.
The only thing is, I did speak to one shop and they said they love it, but the thing is, it would be good to spread out because JobKeeper is potentially ending in September, and we've gotten a lot of help, continuously now, but maybe in September when people are really struggling because they might lose their jobs and stuff, that's when a next round of vouchers. So hopefully they haven't used up all of their money and they don't help us towards the end.
That September cliff is going to be an interesting time to watch out for people and to check on your friends.
That's when we're going to be going to bed.
Well, we're having a sleep in because everything's happening now. It's July, August. The beer can regatta is coming back in a smaller version.
If you can carry your boat, I love that.
Yeah, if you can carry your boat.
So normally you'd build some giant thing, but because it's going to be held at the waterfront, you have to be able to carry your boat in.
Yeah, and a lot of people after they've drunk those beers to make those boats reckon they could carry the big ones too. So let's give them a good crack. That's on the 2nd of August. Other things as well, the Darwin Entertainment Centre has a few more weekends of In Motion, which is where you get to see 4 acts in motion around the entertainment centre. So many things going on.
And it's only $10. It's a great way to support the arts. I went, you were performing.
Yes.
Every week it's different artists that are performing. So it's this Saturday and next Saturday.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
I'm going to say, with 2 ladies dressed so finely on this program, I'm presuming that you might be showing up at the ladies' lunch. Are you going to go to the Turf Club and go to the ladies' lunch on Wednesday?
Invite me. I wasn't planning on going, but I'm up for it. I would like to see it. I heard today that the Darwin Turf Club are having an Elton John and Billy Joel, not the actual people, but like impersonators performing sometime in later on this year, which is exciting. We're
smack in the middle of the carnival. We've already had a few weeks of it. We've got Ladies' Day, we've got the racing, more and more racing to come, and of course we're pushing up towards the Cup, which is another one of the reasons why people wanted the borders open first place, so that we can get those people in, because it does rely a lot on not just the locals, but
watch this space. It's changing all the time.
Exactly. Anything else that's happening?
I think the most important thing and most exciting thing to talk about is the winner of our competition, right? Yes. This competition, thank you so much to the Vibe, the Waterfront, everyone getting behind it to provide that prize.
Exactly, thank you.
On our social medias, our winner is Sophie Mimar.
Yes.
So Sophie Mimar on the Instagram got involved and has won herself a night accommodation and a food voucher to spend at the waterfront.
Exactly. We will be contacting her. But yes, get in touch with us. We'll also have more prizes to announce later on. But I think it's a busy, exciting week. Be safe because obviously the borders are open. Watch all the hotspots if you've got family and loved ones traveling from
interstate. And just
interstate.
before I go, the other thing, of course, it is right now is corflute fever. If the corflutes have been allowed to go up for the election, and I never understand why seeing 16 versions of a politician is better than seeing one of them. They used to just hang one on a fence. Now they're in great slabs.
My goal for viewers of this show is if you have things that you can do with corflute, I'd love to hear about it. Leave us a comment so that we can start to craft activities.
#NT Recap. We might have a prize for you. But thank you all. Stay well, stay safe, and see you next week here at the Waterfront.